So after my last two walkaway videos were so roundly misinterpreted, deliberately in some cases, I believe, I would like to clarify my stance on the matter. I think it's pretty clear from watching those videos. I hope. I realize that the death of subtlety is an established fact, but I kind of made it pretty clear repeatedly. I support walking away as a lifelong liberal who has absolutely nothing in common with today's Democratic Party. I did so myself a long time ago. I was never even registered as a Democrat until 2016 when I changed my registration in order to vote for Bernie Sanders in the primary. I've kept it as Democrat since then because I live in New York State and you need to be registered with a party in order to vote in primaries. However, that doesn't mean I identify with anything the Democratic Party stands for, and obviously neither do you if you are walking away, which I support. Again, this should have been obvious from watching my other two videos. However, I think there were a couple of, American Enterprise Institute trolls who were sent on there to, be really stupid. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. However, my problem was with Brandon Straka and his naked, obvious, pretty ham-handed, almost, actually not ham-handed at all, that's what worried me, sheepdogging for the Republican Party, saying, well, you don't have to join the Republican Party, but I did, and look how ferociously attractive and well-spoken I am. And just, this disingenuous bullshittery of, well, it's the natural home of liberal values, and yeah, sure. Talk to Mitch McConnell about liberal values. Talk to John McCain about liberal values. That guy is so determined to take the rest of the world with him to his grave. He's a monster, and, I can't really get behind that sort of ideology. It's an ideology of death. It's not good. I realize the Democratic Party is also the party of war now. Obviously, it didn't used to be. I guess the point that I'm trying to make, and that I was trying to make in my other video, is that as Democrats and Republicans scorned, we have a lot more in common with one another than we do with our respective previous parties that we have walked away from. And as more and more, the statistics are there, more Americans than ever identify as politically independent, although most lean towards one party or the other, people just have nothing in common with this shit anymore because it does not represent them, especially since Citizens United basically opened the floodgates for money to pour into elections. Neither party even makes a pretense of actually giving voters what they want. It's something like 90% of Americans want public option for healthcare, and we're not getting that. I don't think that most Americans want us to be spending more than half of every tax dollar blowing people up around the world in wars that do not suit our strategic interests at all. These are just a few things that are really obvious that I think that maybe Republicans and Democrats, the voters at least, the people who voted once for one of these two parties, can find something to agree about, or at least to have a civilized debate about. That's one of the things that the mainstream media would like to stop us from doing entirely. The whole thing is up on its head, and it's because both, the term liberalism, as I've said many times before, has been hijacked by this small but vocal minority of clinically insane I don't even know. And it does look like it's an outside operation. I do not believe that this arose from some organic current within liberalism or within the left. While some of these social movements, they basically took the most extreme elements of what liberalism stood for, blew them up 10,000 times, and put them as the banner of the movement. So it's not just, we should, have acceptance for lesbian, gay, bi, and transgender people. Which, I think everybody can agree with that. But it's, no, we have to have transgender treatment for 2-year-olds because, they put on mommy's shoes and now all of a sudden we have to cut their dick off. No, that's not, logical, and I don't think that most liberals would really go for that. However, we're being told that that's the new face of liberalism. All these videos of parents bringing their kids in for drag queen story hour. I don't think that most liberals are really so keen on this. I think that maybe a lot of them won't say they aren't keen on this because they don't want to look like bigots. But in that case, it's just spinelessness and maybe, self-preservation, or maybe they think that nobody will ever invite them to parties again, or I don't honestly know. I think that the epidemic of spinelessness in the left is really terrifying, and the fact that people won't stand up to this censorious climate, it means we are getting screwed in a big way, and when the dust settles on all of this, things are going to look very ugly and very different, and it's going to be very difficult to have one's voice heard. I guess, I don't know, I would appreciate some suggestions as to where we might start with, forming a third party or finding common ground. I know that I sympathize with a number of quote-unquote conservative positions, such as like the idea that the government should be the only ones with access to firearms is completely absurd and ludicrous on its face. And the standard leftist position on this is not logical, because, I mean, cops are the ones slaughtering minorities on a grand scale for crimes that either don't exist or are so minor. I mean, you're seeing people like gunned down for jaywalking and shit. Like, you want these guys to be the only ones with the guns? Dude, no, that's stupid, and people don't think these things through. They just buy these prepackaged ideologies and adopt them as part of their identity because it's too much work to actually learn about the issues yourself. On the other hand, I do share liberal positions, such as I believe that there should be universal health care for everyone, and you know, the idea that there should be some sort of standards in place to stop people from sending 12-year-old children into the mine, and that, you know, women don't belong barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. However, I do think that what is currently being portrayed as the be-all and end-all of liberalism is largely false, phony, exaggerated, and kind of silly, and that's the whole point. It's there to make us look bad. So, yeah, I just don't want to see disaffected liberals running headlong into the arms of the Republican Party, and that was what worried me when Brandon Straka first came out with Walkaway. I thought, are people really going to go for this? Like, the Republican Party is the party of love? What is this shit? And fortunately, humanity has redeemed itself a little bit in my eyes. I don't mean to be condescending at all. I've just seen, like, people be really stupid in ways of jumping on bandwagons and whatnot. Like, even with this whole Russiagate thing, I've already done several videos on the topic, so I'm not going to go down that hole again. However, like, common sense, man. Like, logical reasoning. These things are very important, especially if you're going to consider yourself a politically informed person. But, yeah, I would like to hear your suggestions for where we might go from here, as far as those who have walked away. How might we continue to effect change within the political system, or does it have to be overthrown and we start all over again? Honestly, that sounds like a lot of work, and, I mean, I'm all ready to do some work. However, I don't think that the American people have it in them for a full-scale revolution, and while there probably are a few of us that would be willing to engage in such, I just don't think it's a thing that has broad appeal. So, like, a third party that can contest the decrepit bullshit dinosaurs in the two existing parties and their deep state enablers. So please, don't willfully misinterpret this video. I support walking away. I just don't support sheepdogging for the Republican Party. There's a difference. So, yeah. Suggestions welcome. Bye.